Good Saturday morning as you get up and get going. 9:33 currently on this Saturday morning, and here on the Central Coast we've got some overcast skies. In fact, I'm not sure how large a portion of California had a little bit of thunder and lightning last night, and even a sprinkle or two. I heard it in the middle of the night, and kind of fun. So long as we don't get those dry lightning strikes that can spark fires in the Sierra Nevada or even our Sierra Madre range here on the Central Coast, then it's just kind of fun. It lights up the sky and it gives you. We just don't get that. It's not part of our typical weather pattern. So we usually get the fog that rolls in at night, then burns off, and that whole summer pattern, the marine layer, but. No, we had a little bit. I could tell with the clouds last night. It was beautiful sunset. In fact, the whole golden glow around 8 o'clock or so was just absolutely beautiful. All right, each and every morning when you catch us, we are talking all things food, wine, craft beer, travel, and tourism. And the topics of this second hour of the E-Trick Explorer radio show are based on something we call a compass word. Basically, we come up with a word, typically based on one of our guests, and then brainstorm from there to find two more related topics, and it always includes an eat, a drink, and an explore. And in this case, it is our drink category. The compass word this week is cat. Tracey Reichow is owner and founder of Black Cat Vineyards in the Coombsville Appellation of the Napa Valley. Welcome to the program, Tracey.
Well, good morning, Randall. I kind of feel like I'm on Jeopardy or something. You're not going to ask me anything really hard, are you?
No, I'm not. But I'm sure the questions I ask you'll be very well familiar with, and that would be including many of our listeners or even people viewing right now might say Coombsville. What is this Coombsville? I haven't heard of that. A lot of people know the Napa Valley, maybe even have gone there their entire life and haven't heard of Coombsville. Where is that?
I know. Isn't it just crazy that can actually be the case with a place like this that's been here since 1870 with vineyards in it? But yeah, it's in the southeast corner of the Napa Valley, about 10 minutes from downtown Napa, and it's named for Nathan Coombs, Coombs, so
Okay.
It's called Coombs Bill. But I have spent my entire 16 years here explaining where it is and what it is to everybody who visits.
Tracy,
we're definitely a secret here.
But that's nice because some people avoid the Napa Valley because that highway, it's Highway 29, right?
Oh, yeah.
The Highway 29 corridor can be overrun. And so you're off the Highway 29 corridor, which makes it appealing to those of us who like the secret areas.
Oh, totally. In fact, most of our 25 or 30 member vintners out here in Coombsville don't even have signs.
Oh.
You have to have an appointment, and you have to be given the address to know where you're going. And we like it that way. Well, and it kind of has to be that way because most of us, almost all of us here, are owner-operators, which means if you don't have an appointment, we could be out in, the back 40 on a tractor actually farming the grapes, as most of us do, including myself, So we're multitaskers here.
I like that. I love when it's an owner-operator, and in this case, it is a woman. And you are a minority in the Napa Valley culture when it comes to owning a vineyard.
So I'm told, and it actually had never really occurred to me until a couple of years ago when a reporter came and wanted to do a series of women winemakers in the Napa Valley. And, I gave her my list of girlfriends that are all winery owners. And she's like, yeah, pretty much that's it. And I'm like, really? That's all? All of us?
It's surprising, isn't it? Because it doesn't seem like something, in my mind anyway, that would be dominated by one sex or the other. But in this case, it truly is. It the same story from growing region to growing region? Like, would you find the same percentages of men and women in Sonoma or Paso Robles or whatever region you pick?
I'm going to get my first Jeopardy question wrong now because I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get out that much. I farm my 7 vineyards, and I make the wine myself, and I host guests myself. I'm kind of a one-woman show, and so I rarely leave the valley.
You don't have time to research it, no.
Yeah, I have no idea what is really out there.
Farming is a 24/7 job, right? And you're in charge of it.
You could call it a job. I think of it more of a lifestyle. This is actually a second career for me. So I've been here 16 years doing this. Before that, I was an investment banker. I was a really, really nice investment banker, by the way.
Yeah, I bet. It sounds like it. What was the transition point? Where did you say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to live in the Coombsville area of Napa and run a small winery?
I wish I had a pedigree or some wonderful story about how I was born to be a winemaker in the Napa Valley, and that is so just not true. I was an investment banker raising my kids. My husband and I decided we needed a place to raise our family, and we'd been here as guests, as tourists, many, many times, and thought, wow, this is pretty awesome. So we literally bought a piece of land here simply because we wanted to raise our family here. Isn't that just sad?
That's sweet. I like that.
And then, what happened for me is that, when in Rome, I'm here, I've got all this land, I'm thinking I should plant a few grapevines. I start the project and realize, wow, this is actually harder than it looks, so maybe I should take a class. Went up to the university, took a class.
Are you speaking of Davis?
Yes, and I took one class to start, was Intro to Viticulture, and I thought, well, this will be helpful. And then, it was like heroin, or I imagined heroin to be anyway.
Right.
It was a slippery slope. I just fell right down, and I took every class they had at Sonoma State, and I planted 3,500 vines. Whoa. Before I finished with my own property, and then moved on to a second property, and it's just never ended.
It just keeps building. And as you were putting in those vines, you were followed around by a small black cat.
I was, who kept me, you can imagine, investment banker turned winemaker. I lost a lot of friends. People were like, you're what?
What? Where?
What do you know about this? And so everybody kind of just abandoned me, except for this wonderful cat who stayed and kept me company. And some could say it kept me sane, although I know others who would argue with the full sanity defense anyway. But yeah, so he kept me company, and I regularly, tell my children that if they would have just shown a little faith early on, they could have had a winery named after him.
Right. It could be one of your children's name, and then winery as opposed to Black Cat.
Exactly.
Somewhat. So what do you specialize in? Is there a specific varietal?
I grow 7 different types of grapes, all reds. I'm probably most known for my Shiraz because I planted Shiraz here in the Coombsville area 16 years ago, and people, were like, this is cab country. What are you doing, girl?
Yeah.
But in fact, I had a vanity plate that said, I heart Shiraz on my car. And people would say to me, seriously, 16 years ago, they would say, oh, is that your daughter's name?
Is it pronounced Sarah?
Yeah, exactly. And so I fell in love with Shiraz from a French Shiraz standpoint, and that's what I wanted to grow and plant here, and so that's what I planted here at the estate vineyard. And it's really my baby, I guess. So although I produce more of other, 4 different cabs and a Howell Mountain Zen and all kinds of different things, the Shiraz has a special place in my heart, so I guess that's my number one.
It really became popular with wine drinkers when the Australians started to flood the market with Shiraz, as they call it. Same grape, right?
Yeah, same grape, exactly. I usually, my feeling is, this is just one winemaker's opinion, but if a winemaker's decided to call their Shiraz Shiraz, it's probably going to be made in more of a Cabernet winemaking style, so more of an extracted winemaking style than my Shiraz. Shiraz is more of a delicate, elegant version of the Shiraz style of winemaking. But then again,
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
Tracey, well, you certainly are good to have an opinion. You've built your own winery. So,
there you go.
Tracey, we only have about a minute left. I'm curious what the climate is like there. Is it a little bit cooler because you're at the opening of the valley?
You know, what I like to say, and people laugh at me all the time, is it's not cooler here. It's just less hot.
Okay.
And what I mean is that we reach the same high temperatures as the rest of my vineyards. I have vineyards in Rutherford and Howell Mountain as well, farther up valley. So we reach the same high temperature, but we don't stay at that temperature as long, as many hours in the day, because we get that cooling influence from San Pablo Bay coming in.
Right.
So it's critical, actually, to the complexion of the fruit, because you by getting those high temperatures, you're developing wonderful mature flavors. By not staying there, you're not baking the flavor out of the fruit, and those cool evenings are fixing the acid into the wine, which is really boring for people to hear about, I know, but it's so important in the structure of the wine.
How it eventually tastes. Well, so people can just contact you via your website, which is blackcatvineyard.com, right? And they can set up an appointment to come check out your place and do some tasting?
Well, they can if they mention your radio show. I only see people by referral. I've gotten so busy over all these years. So I see people, you've got to be referred in.
I got to cut you off there, Tracey. I'll let people know on the other side of the break. Tracey Reichow, Black Cat Vineyard. We're back in a moment.